All right, everyone, welcome back. So I am now doing 6.4, and I will be splitting it up into a few videos. So I will begin with the first one. I will do get started, construct understanding, and check your understanding number one. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to be adding and subtracting rational expressions, this time with binomial and trinomial denominators. I think in the past we have been just doing monomial denominators. Okay, so here you would have binomial denominators and trinomial ones. Okay, so let us just begin with doing the get started here. So let's practice with factoring because factoring is a um, process that you will have to do as you do adding and subtracting rational expressions. So let's just quickly remember this. So this one, how do we factor? That appears to be the difference of two squares. So that would be 4 plus 3a, all right, times 4 minus 3a. Done. Okay, next one. So this one, I think the first thing to do is to factor out the common factor because all of them are even. So you can factor out the 2, leaving us with b squared plus 5b minus 14. So to factor the trinomial, you will have to find two numbers that multiply to negative 14 and add to positive 5. So that would be 7 and negative 2. So b plus 7, b minus 2. Okay. So again, as you do this, since it's really very simple, it is very easy to make a mistake. So just quickly check. Okay. So this one, 6c squared minus 7c plus 2. Some of you might be able to quickly do it in your head, but if you cannot, that is probably going to make you go into decomposition, wherein the AC value, okay, A times C, and your A would be 6 and your C would be 2. The AC value would be a 12. While the B value would be negative 7. So you're going to look for two numbers that multiply to positive 12 and add to negative 7. And you should get the idea that, okay, they are both negative because they multiply to positive and yet they add to a negative, right? So that would be negative 3 times negative 4. All right, because negative 3 plus negative 4 is negative 7. So that allows us to simplify this. Oops. 6c squared minus 7c plus 2. We are going to break up the middle term into two terms, which would be these two. I'm just trying to recall to you because some of you might have forgotten. That would be minus, I will do 3c first. It really doesn't matter, okay? Minus 4c plus 2. And you can factor out a 3c from the first two. So again, I'll be factoring the first two terms, and 3c can be factored out, leaving me with 2c minus 1. And again, I told you before, if you're doing this correctly, you would have 2c minus 1 also in the end. So it's really asking yourself, what would you multiply to 2c to give you a negative 4c? And that would be a minus 2. And that should also work for the next one. Negative 2 times negative 1 will give you a positive 2, right? So we're good. So the common factor here is 2c minus 1 times 3c minus 2. And there is your get started. Let's go to construct your understanding. So add and subtract. So beginning with this, we have two rational expressions, but then the denominators are the same. So that is pretty easy. You can just add the 5 and the 1 right away. Gives you 6 over x plus 3. And just don't forget, always put in your non-permissible value. X is not equal to negative 3 because by doing that, by making x negative 3, that would make the rational expressions undefined. What about this one? Oh, this one, you don't have the same denominator. So that means you will have to come up with a common denominator. And the only way for you to do this would be to just multiply this by this, okay? So that means the first fraction, which has 1 over x plus 3 only. If I want to give it the same denominator as this one, so I will have to do this. I will multiply it by x minus 5. But I will multiply the top by x minus 5 as well, okay? Right, so I'm going to need some more space, so I think these two I will just be doing later. So I'm just going to be using this space to continue, all right? While the next one, this one here, all right, since it only has x minus 5 as a denominator, I will have to give it an x plus 3 as a denominator, which means I will have to multiply the top by x plus 3 as well. Okay? Okay. That means if I have to simplify this, x minus 5 all over x plus 3 times x minus 5, all right, minus 2x plus 6. Now, guys, look. This 2 times x plus 3 is 2x minus 6, plus 6, and you have the same denominator. Now, I'm going to use this minus now, and look at what I'm going to do. X minus 5 over x plus 3 times x minus 5. Since they have the same denominator, now I'll just be putting them together. And look, minus, so this negative sign is applied to these two. It becomes minus 2x minus 6, giving me a final answer of x minus 2x is negative x minus 11 over x plus 3 times x minus 5. There's no need to multiply these two in the denominator, okay? And x cannot be equal to negative 3 and positive 5, okay? So let's do the next one. This one here, okay? Okay, so 3 over x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 2 over x plus 3. Now, guys, take a look. This one is actually a perfect square trinomial. Isn't it that this one is x plus 3 times itself, right? Therefore, if I want to put these two under the same denominator, I just need to multiply this by x plus 3 and the same for the one on top. So minus 2 over. So if the denominator was multiplied by x plus 3, all right, I will multiply the top by x plus 3. You notice? So these two actually cancels out if you like, so it doesn't really change it. All right, so 3 over x plus 3 squared minus x plus 3 squared in the bottom minus 2x plus 6, and we can now simplify them and make sure that this negative is applied to these two. It would be, for the denominator, x plus 3 squared, because now you can put them all together. 3 minus 2x minus 6. You got it? So that would be final answer of minus 2x minus 3 all over x plus 3 squared. All right, and x is not equal to negative 3. Okay. And this one here, guys, I think you can already do this by yourself. Okay, so I'll leave that for you to do. So those strategies that we just did we are going to be using as we do the check understanding. All right. So let's simplify this. So just like one of the questions in the check in the construct your understanding, the denominators were not the same, and I'm guessing that would be the second construct understanding that I did, in which case you will have to multiply these two to have your common denominator. Okay, so let's take a look at the first um, fraction or rational expression, and let's see how what happens here. I'm talking about this one. So this is what I have at the beginning, but I need to have this as a factor in the denominator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply that by p plus 1. And as I do that, I have to multiply the top by p plus 1 also. Now take note, I need to put brackets here. Otherwise, I might make the mistake of thinking that it's just this one that is multiplied by p plus 1, and then it's going to be a problem. Okay? Plus p plus 3 is the original numerator. P plus 1 is the original denominator. I need to multiply the denominator by what? By p minus 2, because I don't have that, all right? So that I can put them all together under the same denominator. So I will multiply this by p minus 2, and I will multiply the top by p minus 2. And once again, I have to have brackets, okay, for this. And now they look like they have the same denominator. So this one, the denominator is p minus 2 times p plus 1. Don't worry about multiplying that. You don't need to. Okay, the top, this one. Oh, that appears to be the difference of two squares. So that would be p squared minus 1, right? Plus, once again, this one would have the same denominator. So let's take a look. This one would be p times p squared. 3p minus 2p, that would be plus p. 3 times negative 2 would be negative 6. So since they have the same denominator, you can put them all together. P minus 2 times p plus 1. We have a p squared here, we have a p squared here, we have 2p squared. Okay? We have no p here, that's a number, this is p, so plus p. Okay, minus 7. Okay. Now if you're thinking, oh, can we still simplify this? Well, ask yourself, do you have a factor for negative 7? That would be, or even if you do decomposition, would you be able to get this um, broken up into two parts? And the answer is no. So in this case, the final answer is going to be 2p squared plus p minus 7. Oh, let's not forget the non-permissible value. Please, p cannot be equal to negative 1 because of this. Okay, and p cannot be equal to positive 2 because of this. All right, next one. So we are going to be simplifying this. Now guys, take a look. Before I even begin, I want you to look at this and this, all right? And in particular, this one. This appears to be the difference of two squares, isn't it? If you were to factor this, that would be 3 minus e times 3 plus e. Now, doesn't this look very similar to this one, except that this one appears to be having the signs in reverse, right? If we can make this into e minus 3, then I think it's going to be better to do this. Now, there are so many ways to do this, and I'd like you to look at what I'm going to do. Now, guys, look, as I go back to the question, I ask myself, what other manipulations can I do this, or can I do here? Now, let's take a look. The first one, the first rational expression, there's really not much I can do, right? So I just copy it. But then as I subtract this, now, Remember that that negative in front of this expression can be done this way. So I will be using that negative and putting it on top here. All right. So I could write it as negative 3e over 9 minus e squared. I can do that. But by doing that, it doesn't really help me out that much. Of course, some of you would say, yeah, it can already be done. It's up to you. But I don't want to do it that way. There's something else in mind that I have. So instead of putting that negative with the 3e, I'll put it on the bottom. Negative of 9 minus e squared, right? Now, guys, isn't it that by doing that, I will now be able to have this 2 over e minus 3 plus 3e minus 9 plus e squared. Oh, wait a minute. If I rearrange this, I will have e squared minus 9, which is what I want, right? So I have 2 over e minus 3 plus 3e over e minus 3. Oh, sorry. I keep on doing that, okay? Times e plus 3. All right, when that happens, I'm just touching the screen, and I'm sorry, okay? Okay, so if I want them to have the same denominator, that means I will have to have this as a common denominator. And since this is all I have for the first fraction, I will need to have this also. All right. 2 over e minus 3 is the first um, denominator. I need to multiply it by this one. So look, I will multiply it by e plus 3. The top is multiplied by e plus 3. All right. And again, I need to multiply this. So I have to put brackets. And on the other side, 3e over e minus 3 over e plus 3. Or that would be 2e plus 6 over e minus 3 times e plus 3 plus 3e over e minus 3 e plus 3, and we can just put them all together now. That would be, oops, 5e. 2e plus 3e is 5e plus 6 all over e minus 3e plus 3. And there is your answer. Just don't forget, we have our non-permissible values, e not equal to negative 3 and positive 3. And please do this practice question, okay? Or 2 questions, okay? These 2. Thank you for watching. Good luck.